which is non-linguistic representations. It's our 5th one. And we spent a lot of time brainstorming ways that we already use the strategy. And you guys put a lot up there of things that you already do to use kinesthetics and drawing pictures and graphic organizers and making models and that sort of thing. I wanted to give you a couple of minutes to share if you wanted to elaborate on anything you do in your classroom, or if you have plans in the works for doing something like this in the next couple of weeks, if you want to talk about it. And Julie brought something to share.
This one hits like so many.
I know, it really does. Let's see.
Was it the model? I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean,
Yeah, it is like a physical model.
it's a. They did it. It's kinesthetic. It was picture, and they had
Pictures?
to generate the mental pictures before they could put it down.
And I even think those are, I mean, it's like a graphic organizer that's folded.
For the water cycle, although it's precipitation instead of precipitation, in case y'all are wondering. But we're still working on the water cycle. For some reason, my kids were really having trouble with it, and it's not something they don't already know because it's taught in 2nd grade. But they know it, they just don't always put it together. And so we started with the collection part, and so we talked about how water collects and groundwater and where the water goes, and they drew a picture. Okay, and then the evaporation comes from they talked about what evaporation was and where it goes. Then you have your condensation here where it forms clouds, and then they make it precipitate, and it goes back to groundwater. And so it was a good representation for them because they were able to, they can open one flap at a time and they can get the picture. Oh yeah, that's steam, that's water vapor, that's not solid. We talked a lot about that's not solid. That's it's the water vapor. You don't really see this happening. So we talked a lot about how to draw that, what that looked like. You don't really see it unless it's a really, really muggy day or you have fog. But
That's such a neat tool because you can, like you said, you can look at one piece at a time, or you can open it up and see a whole picture thing. It's really neat.
And they folded them themselves. I cut it for them, but they had to fold it themselves. So that's pretty exciting.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. And she's going to make me one, or have a kid make me one that I could stick on our wall out there.
I'll have Haley. Haley hasn't done hers because she was absent, so I'll have her make 2.
Okay.
She gets to be extra
If
special.
one of your other ones want to make 2, they can make me a model. So when we start that
I've
next
got an
week,
example. I'll send
Okay.
it down. I mean,
So I'm
I'll
going to
have
start
mine
that next
example.
week.
And can I have one as well? Because last year for my fifth grade kids that did the Extend 1, that was something that was
Okay.
nice.
Oh.
So this would
Yeah, that'd
be
be
a
perfect.
nice
Yeah, and I
tool
sample
to
too.
use.
Just have to make your whole class big.
Yeah, everyone make
They
an
just make
extra
another one. They really enjoyed it, and they were so on task when I said, "Guys, we got to stop. We got to move on." I'm like, no.
Okay, now they get to make 2.
I was just so happy with them.
And it really does hit so many of those strategies that Marzano says really, and this is not just a fun, cutesy, draw picture thing. I mean, this is really to increase their understanding, which is what that strategy is all about.
Well, and then when they were reading the text again, they were pulling it out to use this, and when they were answering the questions, and I thought, we're actually using it. I made them put it back in their science book so that it was there for when they were reading. So.
My kids are still using their foldables for math, like the ones for polygons. Did you see the foldables?
I
we
did.
made? Okay. So the one for polygons has little strips cut, so it'll say hexagon. They open the flap and it'll say a 6-sided figure, and then they'll put like a real world example if they could think of one. If not, they haven't one, but they could add to it later. And then the one for rounding we did is just 5 steps, and they flip it open, and the steps explained, and then the example goes through it.
Those foldables, when you do the step by step for a specific skill, those are so good for those kids that need awareness.
Yeah.
The one that's in my IC case, very low IQ.
The awareness.
She has
piece,
to have
is-
that.
I think that is the best part of it for some of us. So.
I did clouds. I know this sounds so elementary, which is not huge elementary, but when the clouds are a big part of the science test of being able to look at the cloud, tell what it is and what kind of weather is going to be the next day or that day or whatever. And so we just used the cotton balls. Like I thought this is going to be ridiculous, but they were so into being able to tear the little
They miss doing that
and
stuff.
make it look just like a cloud. I was like, okay, now match it up. Does this look just like, does your cotton ball cloud look like the picture in the book? and then they were able to make layers, you know, and it was just, and they did
Well,
it
I
in
think
a
that's
table.
important because mine couldn't figure out the difference between cumulus and stratus.
Right, and they did it in like a table where one was you had the picture or the cotton ball, the example of it, and then they told what it was, and the next one was maybe a description of what it looks like, and then the next one was what kind of weather do you expect to see with
So
it.
you made like a foldable.
It wasn't a foldable.
No,
It's
like a
just
chart?
It's
A chart,
yeah, it's just
okay.
a chart. But I mean, it was just really neat, and they were going back and comparing and saying, "Well, your cirrus clouds look different than mine. Are these still cirrus clouds, Miss Buchanan?" You know, and then they wanted to go outside and look at them.
Yeah.
And we did a cloud journal one year. We were in that time.
And